Jessica Easthope. They used to give out 2 boxes of food to every person in line, but now volunteers at the St. Athanasius Food Pantry struggle to find enough to fill 1 bag. That's the new reality in New York City, growing hunger and dwindling funds. But they're refusing to let the people in the Bensonhurst community miss a meal. Charlotte Montgomery can't help but sigh looking at her inventory at the St. Athanasius Food Pantry. It's getting harder by the day to keep up.
We're like scrambling to get them things. Even if we give them 4 items, at least they have something.
The pantry feeds between 1,000 and 1,500 individuals every week. This time last year, New York City's emergency pandemic funding was still in effect, and the pantry was receiving $36,000 a year for food. Now, they get less than $12,000.
To see that big drop and to see the need, and it's growing. We have money for everything else, but to feed our own.
The pantry has been relying on nonprofit organizations like Campaign Against Hunger and Catholic Charities Brooklyn and Queens for donations.
Their donations, their bags, their shopping
St. Athanasius pastor Father Michael Lynch and volunteers like Mary Guadani say due to recent inflation, it's not enough.
The money that we get doesn't go as far as it needs to go, and then having to use their funds to go out and shop in supermarkets and stores and bodegas are also finding a pinch.
The dollar is not what it used to be. When you go food shopping now, you're getting less for more money, and it's very hard. And I just don't know how the people are doing it.
We can always have them just check in the bulletin.
Father Lynch says they advertise in the church bulletin every week, hoping more parishioners can find it in their hearts to help out.
Anybody who's willing and able to do that is an amazing, amazing, grateful gift to us, because we're able to pass it right on to the people who are most in need.
And Charlotte says, just like the need, their plea continues.
It's tearing me up. It's sad to see that we don't have enough to feed these families. Where we want the help, we want the funding to help these families. That's all we ask.
Again, St. Athanasius is asking for the public's help to feed the community. They're calling for donations of pop-top canned goods, including soups, meat, and fruit, as well as boxed cereal, oatmeal packets, instant coffee, tea bags, and crackers. Donations can be dropped off at St. Athanasius, located at 6115 Bay Parkway, inside the church at the St. Joseph's altar to the right of the main altar. The FDA has approved the first over-the-counter birth control pill. The drug, called O-Pill, will be available without a prescription at drugstores, grocery stores, and online. When exactly that will be and how much it'll cost is still up in the air. U.S. bishops and Catholic medical and ethics experts are against the move, citing the numerous negative side effects of the pill, like organ failure and cardiovascular disease. The bishops also point out their disapproval of contraceptives as a whole, saying they exist to suppress the healthy functions of human reproduction. The bishops are, however, backing a new migrant program that will reunify families. The process was implemented by the Department of Homeland Security starting last week and allows qualified nationals from Colombia, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras to join their family in the United States. The chair of the U.S. Bishops Committee on Migration, Bishop Mark Seitz, released a statement welcoming the effort, saying it provides, quote, a realistic opportunity for retaining family unity and reunification, which are foundational to the U.S. immigration system and central tenets of Catholic social teaching. Joining me now to talk more about this effort at reunifying families at the border is the national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, John Lavenberg. John, tell me a little bit about this program. What opportunity does it afford these migrants?
Yeah, so for migrants from the countries you mentioned, Colombia, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, at its core, it gives them an opportunity to legally live in the United States with family. More specifically, it allows them to be in the United States for 3 years of parole, and after those 3 years, they can apply for lawful permanent residency in the U.S.
And who exactly qualifies?
Yeah, so from those countries we mentioned, someone must be a national of those countries to qualify for this program. And then they also must have a family member in the United States who's either a citizen or a lawful permanent resident in their own right. So how it works from there is the U.S. family member submits a form to the federal government, and then that form, if approved, the migrant then has to go through a series of requirements, medical checks, screenings, processing at the border, and if that all goes well, then the migrant is admitted into the country.
And John, the reality is we've been trying to get families back together at the border for decades. Why would this program work now?
That's right, Jess, but it's important to note that this is a different kind of family reunification. These aren't families who were separated at the border. These are families in which, again, they have a family member in the U.S. and then they live in these other countries. So how this works, this is the U.S. government's response to when they got rid of Title 42 in May. They drastically strengthened border measures, border security. But at the same time, they implemented legal pathways to make sure that these migrants fleeing dire situations, political persecution, other things, have a pathway in. This is one of those efforts that they hope will discourage people from taking the illegal pathway in and encourage them to come into the country legally.
And we just heard that the U.S. bishops are for this initiative, for this program, but they also said it wasn't enough, right?
That's right. And, you know, the U.S. bishops, they always support anything like this that expands legal pathways and things like that. But what they also said in their statement, which is what they've preached for a while, is that these programs, they wouldn't need these expanded legal pathways if Congress would just sit down and get done comprehensive immigration reform that's both secures the border and has legal pathways in place, and it's clear for migrants to know how they can get into the country and how they should go about doing so.
Thanks so much, John, for that insight. John Lavenberg, the national correspondent for The Tablet and Crux. And for the latest updates on immigration and how the Catholic Church is responding to the needs at the border, just log on to thetablet.org. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Jessica Easthope. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.